now, and but it took, got so close, but yet so far away.
There you go. Well, I'm going to tell you a little bit about what I've been through, and it blew my mind, and I did not know any of this and was 40 years old before I knew anything happened to me personally with family. And so I'm going to tell you about that a little later also. But now I understand that the French translation translated to 4 different names or something. You had a problem there, right?
As I recall, I think there was 2 or 3 different spellings it could be, and we just go by trial and error on a lot of this, because if you have 100% surety of what you're looking for, it makes it a lot better. But when you're looking for something you're not sure, you just have to try all 3, and it's kind of the trial and error method, and hope we get a hit somewhere. And we tried the name, and I came up with this, and there was a couple places that everything didn't quite fit, but there was no one else in there, so after I went over it and battled it back and forth, I said, this has got to be the one. And then we brought it forward, and then you can tell us from where we got to here, how we got to here.
Well, once John called me and he brought me the information he had, he said he really, was pretty sure, but he wanted to check out one more thing. So I guess about 5 days later, he called me again. He said, Linda, this is it. I know it is. So he came to my house and brought me all the information. And so he told me that Mom had a sister who had passed away in February, and this was in September. And he brought me her son's names and phone numbers. So I waited until that evening, and I thought, oh, what am I going to do if they don't want to talk to me or something? But I called, and a man answered, and I told him, I said, you don't know me, but I have reason to believe that your mom and my mom are half-sisters. He says, I know so. He said, we've been hunting for you since 1997. And I still get goosebumps just saying it. It was just such a wonderful feeling, because I was so scared he'd hang up on me or, cuss me out or something. And so he came down the next week from Louisiana and met my mom and everything. And then about 6 weeks later, we went to Bow Bridge, Louisiana, and they had a big party for my mom at Mulat's. And her cousin's the mayor in Bow Bridge, and he gave her the key to the city. And they are just the warmest, nicest people you could ever meet. I mean, they're wonderful. And then in the process, about a couple of weeks later, he gave me the father's name. So I gave that to John, and here again, good old John, and he's our hero. I mean, we just...
Luck.
No, it's not luck. He's our hero. And he came up with the information that I needed, and I called this gentleman, and here again, I was scared half to death, but he answered the phone, and I said, you don't know me, and I told him who I was. I said, I have reason to believe you and my mom are brother and sister, and his comment was, well, it wouldn't put it past me, because his dad had 13 more children after my mom, with her being the first one, and he's the brother that my mom had been looking for, or wanting, and he is just wonderful. He's younger. He's like about 71. My mom's 88, but he just adores my mom, and they've come down a couple of times. My mom's sick now, and she can't travel to Louisiana anymore, but they still call her all the time, and I'm sure they'll be coming down before too long.
That is so. They're looking for you. You're looking for them. And lately, things have changed a little bit. So John was telling me with the internet, and there's a lot of bad stuff on the internet, but there is so many good things that come out, and that's what we want to talk about today. It's the good things that come out. And you keep hearing about things that just destroy people on the Facebook and this thing and then the other, and I've seen some of it, and I took my Facebook off because I saw so much bad stuff. But in the whole mix of things, thank goodness it has been able to reconnect families that they're looking for them, they're looking for them, and you just want those answers. So, that's just a really, really good thing. We're going to pause for a break right now, and we'll be back in just a little bit. Stick around. Okay, everybody, welcome back. We're going to take just a little break on what we're doing here and tell you what happened with me. And this happened after we moved here from Atlanta area about 35, 6 years ago. And me and my brother have been mighty, mighty close, and all through school, he just protected me. He's a little guy, about the size of my mother. Now, I'm a big guy, the size of my dad and my grandpa. I take more of my granddaddy. But he would just, anybody fooled with me, you had to answer to my brother. He was just absolutely the worst person I ever seen about fighting. So I didn't have to fight. So we've been real good friends being brothers, friends actually for many, many, many years. One night in Lillian, Alabama, I had a real estate office over there, and about 9 o'clock at night, I was sitting there, and my brother come walking up, and he pulled the sliding glass door back, and he was crying, and I said, "What is wrong with you?" He said, "I don't know who I am." I said, "What do you mean you don't know who you are?" He said, "Well," I said, "I think Mom and Daddy must have picked me up side of the road, or something happened, don't know what." I said, "Have you lost your mind?" I said, "As far as back as I can remember, you've been my brother." I said, "How far back can you remember?" He said, "Well, it happened before I could remember, but I know there's something wrong." And I said, "Boy, he has been off the deep end here. He ain't coming back, But he was right. Did not know it. He was 44 years old, did not know. And so I said, "I'll tell you what, brother," I said, "I'll call over to Georgia, and I said, I'll find out by Georgia where you come from, where I come from, and everything about it." I called my aunt. She said, "Ask your mama." Well, Mama lived about a block away. So I said, "No, I want to know what it is." She said, "Your mother was raped in a pecan orchard, and she had your brother. And when he was 3 years old, your dad married her, and said every time he'd go see her, said your brother would say, 'I want to go home with Otis.'" My daddy's name was Otis. And I get broke up when I start talking about this, so I'm going to have to cut it off real quick here. But it was that way. Now, my brother has made contact with his stepbrothers and everything by finding out. It went about 2 weeks. 2 weeks went by. I said, "Brother," I said, "I'm going to tell Mom and Daddy, or whether you're going to or not." He didn't want to tell them. I said, "Well, I'm going over there." He said, "I'll go with you." I said, "Okay." So we sat down. And I told Mama, I said, "We know that brother's my half brother." And I said, "We know everything." Of course, she just cried and cried and cried. And my daddy, he just sat there and he didn't say a word. He was kind of quiet then, and he just didn't say anything. And Mama looked at him and looked at me, and she said, "From that day to this, your daddy has never mentioned anything about that to me." It made me so proud of my daddy that that he never threw that up to her, nothing. I said, "Mama, why did you keep this a secret so long?" She said, "I was afraid you boys would go kill that guy." And my brother probably would have. I don't know that I would have, but I think my brother would have. She had concern in the right way. But that's something that can happen, and you don't know. You just don't know, and Mama didn't tell us. But that's Mom and Daddy both are passed away there in Lillian, Alabama. They buried out at Pensacola Memorial Gardens, and so that's just a story that happened in my life. And I want to get back to this because it just does my heart good to see family reconnected, and the feelings are there, and you want to know, and you search and search for years, and they're trying to find you, you're trying to find them, and it just means so much. I know when you can make connection. And John WIlk is the guy. So John, you got some more stuff you need to talk to us about.